Taylor Ashburn joins us, the president of the Junior Bolts football program. Thanks for taking a few minutes out of practice to talk with us.
Absolutely.
Tell us about this unique experiment, the Junior Bolts football program. How did it come about?
Yeah, so it actually started in October of 2023. So I was coaching a different Lincoln youth football team, and over the last couple of years, I had been hearing, primarily from the 8th graders that I was coaching, they were sad when the season was coming to an end. And they would say things like, wouldn't it be fun if we were all going off to high school together? Because Lincoln youth football is kind of based on where you live, but on any given team, you'll have kids that'll go to Southeast and East, and some will go to Pius, so they get, split 3 or 4 different ways. So that kind of put a thought in the back of my mind. But then also that fall, my oldest son, who was a freshman here at Pius at the time, they had their first freshman football game. Now, mind you, all those players came from 8 different Lincoln youth football programs. Some had never played before. And they played one of the schools from Omaha. I don't remember who it was, but it didn't go well. And they lost big. And I remember him saying a couple weeks later, Dad, we're finally all coming together. We're starting to figure it out. We're playing like a team. I wish we could have, another shot at, Scott or whoever it was, because those guys have been playing together for years. And so those two thoughts just kind of planted a seed in my mind, and I got together with a couple of guys I went to Pius with, and we just began to kind of ask a question like, what if? Like, what if there was a way we could have a true feeder program for Pius? Because honestly, when you look outside of Lincoln, you look at Waverly, Norris, Seward, Beatrice, and of course, all the schools in Omaha, they all have true feeder programs. So if you're gonna go to West Side, you're probably playing for the Junior Warriors as young as 3rd grade. And when you look at kind of how Lincoln has done it, Lincoln Youth Football has been around for a long time. It's a great program. But, I wouldn't say Lincoln's fallen behind, but Omaha has been the one winning all the state championships. And so we got together and said, is there something more we could do? And it kind of just took off from there. And we met with Pius and we said, we have this idea. And of course they were thrilled at the idea of it, because it's not something they could ever do. We're not actually directly associated with Pius. And so for us to just kind of take it and run with it, and now here we are 2 years later, and it's up and running.
It is. And so this has to be a ton of work, a lot of time commitment.
Yeah.
You don't have a son out on that football field.
I don't.
So why do you do it?
So I'm a graduate of Pius, graduated in '99. We won 3 state championships during my 4 years here. This place means a lot to me. And as I've graduated and got married and started having kids, and just seeing the true value of Catholic education, this place means a lot to me. And so I've found a passion to do something new and different. Not many people can say they started a youth football program. And so for me, it's a chance to give back to a school that means a lot. We talk about time, talent, and treasure. I may not be able to write a big 6-figure check, but I can give you a couple hundred hours a year to do something that we believe is more than football, to put a program together that Pius would be proud of, that's good for these kids, that's good for the greater Catholic school community. So while my older 2 boys who are at Pius wouldn't have this opportunity, I do have a 2nd grade son who will someday. So sometimes I think about him, it's like I'm getting this ready for him, but of course for all these boys.
Yeah, awesome. So what makes this Junior Bolts program different from the other youth football programs in the city? What's the why behind this program?
Sure, right. So the why behind it was, number one, we had an opportunity to bring these kids together from all the different Catholic grade schools in Lincoln and give them an opportunity to play youth sports together. Whereas before, if they wanted to play football, they would have been, if you're in Martyrs, you're going to be on Police. If you go to St. Michael, you're going to be on Manzito. There was never an opportunity to get these kids together. And so first and foremost, the opportunity to get them together with their future high school classmates seemed like a really, really fun idea and concept. But so much of what we're trying to do here is so much more than football. We're proud of our Catholic identity, and when you look at our mission statement, that's first and foremost. We have an opportunity to use football as a way to shape young men into being better classmates, better sons, better brothers, and ultimately just, better adults when they get off to into the working world someday. And so that's why we do things here that maybe sometimes you can't get away with in the public sector, where you're praying before practice, you're talking about God, you're talking about Jesus. Our teams have kind of become a de facto youth group, because these coaches every month has a theme and every week has a different question. And so they're getting these boys together and they're having those conversations. And so it's an opportunity to do something it's bigger than football. It's bigger than wins and losses.
When you look at youth sports, big picture, you hear a lot of negativity about what's going on. Overbearing parents, coaches aren't coaching correctly.
Yeah.
Is this the recipe for maybe trying to turn that around and focusing on things like values and characters and God? Does that make a difference when it comes to youth sports, do you think?
I think absolutely. Anybody that walks into a Catholic grade school would tell you that it feels different than walking into a public grade school. Not right or wrong, not saying one's better than the other, it's just different, okay? So we're trying to build a culture, we're trying to build a family sort of atmosphere and vibe, a family that can help each other, when they're experiencing a low. Like we had one of our coaches whose father passed away just a few weeks ago. And so the boys all signed a card and they all prayed for him, and we sent, a picture to the family so they could see that. And those are the lessons that football can teach. Youth sports, when it's about winning and losing and the focus is so much on winning, you're setting yourself up for failure. And so I've told all of our coaches, none of you will ever be judged on wins and losses. And I told the parents, I don't care if we go 8-0 or 0-8, because at the end of the day, this is about, achieving something that's bigger than football. And really, I think for the parents too, this has been a really neat thing, because now you have, St. Teresa's parents sitting next to St. Pat's parents that maybe never would have, because their kids live on different sides of town. So all the positive things that a program like this can do for the kids, for the Catholic school community, for their parents, can't be overlooked. But we have such great coaches. As we were putting this all together, that was the one thing I couldn't control. I mean, I can order the uniforms and I can get all the equipment ordered and coordinate with Pius, but I can't do anything about if nobody wanted to coach, right? And so we have 44 coaches out here that are just great men and women. We do have a mom out here as well. And I think they're all in it for the right reason. They understand that we're building a foundation that's going to benefit these kids and in their lives, but also benefit Pius, in the long run.
So it's a little different approach. You're just getting started with this program. What's been the reaction from the parents and from the players?
Yeah. Well, the parents are loving it because they appreciate the faith component. I know that as I walk around the game field on Sunday, I'm seeing so many parents saying, "Oh my gosh, so good to see you," like to each other. That's been really great. But I really think that the reaction from the kids has been, they get it. Like they understand, like, I'm gonna play here someday. I'm gonna be wearing those colors someday. And
Thank you.
Sure. And these are my future high school classmates. So a quick story. So Junior Bolts basketball is a spin-off of our program. And I heard from a parent who said, the basketball roster came out and I looked at it and I thought, oh no, my son is not with any kids from his school. He's gonna be so disappointed. He's not gonna wanna play. So they're kind of preparing for when he comes home from school. He comes home from school and they're like, so here's your basketball team. He goes, no way, I play football with all those guys. Mom, these are my friends. Now I get to play basketball with them too. So it's just such a cool example of how we can take this Junior Bolts program, which is, again, it's not just football. There's a group that's doing basketball, there's a group that's doing baseball, and we can apply kind of this concept across the board and get these guys excited about, playing with their future classmates, being a Thunderbolt someday, whether it's on the football field, the basketball court, the baseball diamond. And I think that's what's really setting this apart, is this is an extension of Pius in terms of, everybody's now rowing the same direction for the day when they become Thunderbolts.
You talked about the coaches and the strong coaching staff that you have out here. These coaches are out here mentoring these young men to be men, and they're also talking about their Catholic faith.
Yeah.
In a way, does this also, do you think, help the coaches grow in their own faith?
100%, right, 100%. Everybody's in a different place in their lives. And when I approached this faith component to those coaches, I said, I'm not asking you to be a theologian, and I understand that you can only give what you have. And so all I'm asking you is to give of, your time, your talent, and just be authentic with these boys. And so oftentimes when they read the question of the week, the coaches will give an answer from the heart. Hey, this is how I would answer that. So for those coaches, my hope and my prayer is that this will be an uplifting experience for them and help them in their faith journey as well.
Part of this is bringing in speakers too, to witness to the kids.
Yeah.
Tonight you had Greg Erline,
Yeah.
Pius legend.
Yeah.
Legend.
Yeah.
Too. What's the thinking behind bringing people like that in from the outside to talk to these kids, especially somebody like that?
Right, yeah. Well, having a Pius alum that's an NFL player, that's an easy one, right? We knew the kids would be excited about that. But I think that kids look up to their sports heroes as role models and examples. So tonight when Greg was able to focus and talk to them about faith and family and football, I know that resonated. I know the kids will be talking about it tomorrow at school. I know that, their parents are going to be excited when they hear, what went on. But the concept of the kids have so many voices and so many, they're being bombarded, whether it's social media, TV, their friends, our culture. So as many positive voices as we can put in to this program, the better. So whether that's Coach Carney, addressing the team, we've had one current Pius player, we'll have a few more, talk to them about what it means to be a Thunderbolt, because we want them to really feel that they're part of something much bigger than just this year, just their little A team or their B team, that they're part of a Thunderbolt tradition. And so when they can hear those voices from people that have come before them, it just solidifies even more, in my opinion, that they're part of this family now.
You also develop themes for players. I just want to mention a few of them. A football team is like the body of Christ, many parts, one team. What's your role?
Yeah.
What does it mean to be a good teammate on and off the field?
Yeah.
Jesus served others. What's one way you served your team this week?
Yeah.
Tell me about the thinking behind that, behind putting those kinds of thoughts in the players' minds right at once.
So the questions that center around like serving your team and serving others, like, let's be honest, okay, especially the kids down at that end of the field, the real little kids, they all want to be Dylan Raiola, they want to be scoring touchdowns, they want to be catching passes, but we need linemen. Someone's got to snap the ball, someone's got to block, someone's got to play safety, someone's got to play corner. So there's an element of sacrificial learning and understanding that comes with being on a team of 11 players and together accomplishing and achieving something that you never could have done on their own. And so, and a great example of this was on Saturday after practice, the B team, the quarterbacks and receivers cooked breakfast for the linemen. They had a pancake feed because the big guys up front paved the way to a victory this past week, and the skills players, as we call them, wanted to reward and thank those guys. So service and being part of a team is just something that football can really teach you. And we also tell them, like, just because you're a left guard in 5th grade doesn't mean you're going to be a left guard in high school. I told the boys the story of Colby Volkmer, who was Pius's quarterback the last 3 years. I think he's the only 3-year starter in school history. When he played Lincoln Youth football, he was a lineman and a tight end. And then he went on a few short years later to start for 3 years at quarterback at Pius. So just trying to help the kids understand that, hey, things are going to change as you get older, but service and giving of yourself and not playing for me, but playing for the guy on each side of me, like Greg said, such an important lesson to learn.
I'm sure there's probably somebody out there that's going to look at this model and say, you get 2 hours with these kids and just 2 hours.
Right.
Are you sacrificing skill development to do the talks, to do the mentoring?
Sure.
Does that ever come up?
Yeah. No, it hasn't. But I think that if you look at the different components of what makes this program great and special, faith isn't just a component, it's the foundation. So we're going to start with the foundation and we're going to build on top of that.
It's also a bonding aspect, and we've hit on it a couple of times. Bringing these kids together from all the different elementary schools in Lincoln, getting them ready ahead of time to come to Pius together, not just to play football at Pius, but to be classmates.
To be classmates. Yeah.
That's got to be a big advantage to this program.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to mention, just the collaboration with Coach Carney and the Pius coaching staff has been incredible. one of the things we're doing that is going to benefit Pius in the long run is these boys are learning the Pius offense and the Pius defense, so that when they arrive as freshmen, they won't be like my son, who it takes 6 weeks to get up and running. They're going to be able to, on day one, call a formation and a play, and these boys are going to jump right in and away they go. But I can't say enough how thankful I am to Coach Carney and his staff, because this would never have worked if he just would have said, great idea, sounds good, here's the playbook, good luck, right? We've spent hours and hours with him. We had a couple of coaching seminars this summer where his whole staff came, and a good majority of our coaches came. And the quarterback coach was in one classroom, the lineman coach was in another classroom, the receivers coach was in another classroom, and our coaches split up, and it was just guys sitting around talking football, drawing stuff up. So the investment of time that Coach Carney and his staff has made is what is going to propel this program and ultimately make it successful.
And you talked about it's success right there, and I want to ask you, how do you judge success? Because you've already said it's not wins and losses.
Right.
Is it the spiritual development of each player? Is it the future success of the Pius football program?
Right.
How do you know whether this program is successful?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My hope is that everybody has such a good experience that they want to come back and play next year. So of the 160 boys that are out here, 100 of them on the dot are brand new, have never played football before. Now that's an awesome responsibility. And I told the coaches, I'm like, if 80 of those kids don't come out next year, you're all fired and so am I. No, but so I would define success as the boys come and they have such a good experience that they want to come out next year. And then hopefully we plant a little seed along the way, something faith related or service related or overcoming adversity, because those are the lessons that football can teach you, which then you can carry on into the working world someday way down the road. But just to help the boys understand that, look, you only get so many years to put on a football helmet. And I told them on the first day of practice, I said, when you get older, you can play sand volleyball, you can play pickup basketball, you can go play golf, but you only get so many years to put on a helmet, put on a shoulder pad, put a set of shoulder pads, and play football. And when it's over, it's over. So we want them to embrace the opportunity and see this as a privilege to be here. And if we win some games, great.
So we've talked about a lot in this conversation.
Yeah.
Sum it up for me.
Yeah.
What do you want Junior Bolts football to be known for now and in the future?
Yeah. I want it to be a hardworking program that does things the right way, that never loses sight of our Catholic identity, that has coaches who understand the bigger picture, who are servant leaders. And at the end of the day, I want to help Pius. You know, if these 160 kids all play football for Pius, you know, when they become freshmen, that'll be a win, you know, for us, definitely.
Awesome. Taylor Ashburn, president of the Junior Bolts football program. We got a great thing going here. Thanks for taking some time to tell us about it.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Yeah.